But let's talk about HitMonkey because this season is insane. Your character goes on quite the journey. Can you
Yeah,
talk about what you were most excited to explore that you're allowed to talk about without spoilers?
I know it's always that the caveat. I mean, it's Haruka 2.0. It's New York. There's more action, sarcasm, more emotion. I mean, I don't know anything that these guys didn't bring it with this season, and it was so fun to play, and just explore Haruka's newfound. I think in season one, she dealt a lot with, she thought she knew what is honest and what is right and what is good and what is bad. And she learned a lot about the gray area. And now, season two, she's literally faced with this new element, kind of sci fi element that comes to her that creates a temptation and forces her to kind of confront her own morality about what justice is and being tempted by different forces, which is really fun.
Yeah. So there's like, that change to Bryce, we will put it that way in this in
Yes.
this in this season. What was your reaction when you like found out that was happening?
I mean, I was just like, it's so genius and it makes so much sense. And just being able to kind of dive more into who Bryce was, and even the first time that Haruka goes to his apartment, it's like, yeah, it makes so much sense that there's like a picture of himself in his apartment, and seeing more about his family life and this relationship with his daughter, this fractured relationship. I think what this show does so well is it brings humanity to every character, and you kind of really understand their backstory of why no one is good or evil really in this show. It's just basically, what they've been faced with, and what they're searching for. So it's really cool.
Yeah, I mean it's a great show. I love the first season, and this season somehow got better, which I thought the
Yeah,
first season was like perfect. You know what I mean?
yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. These guys are just the things they come up with. I'm like, what? How do your brains come up with this?
Yeah, because like it's based on a comic, but then it's doing its own thing too, which I
Yeah,
love. Did you
totally.
ever did you ever read the Hitmonkey comics?
I didn't. I think they might have been too gory for me when I was younger, at the time. But now I'm like, more gore, more, because it is interesting how, as gory and R-rated and sarcastic as it is, there are moments in the show that really make me tear up. I mean, season one and season two, I found myself in sessions where I was like, I'm weeping. I'm so sad.
Yeah, there was definitely times I was crying, especially this season. I won't get into spoilers, but there were some moments that I was like, no, like this, it's so good. But what I
Yeah.
love is I love adult animation. And so, like, I have two kids. I love to sit down and watch stuff with them, but I love when I can watch my own thing. So, can you talk about the importance of being part of something that's like just like you said, it's gory, it's insane, it's so good, and it's definitely not for kids.
Definitely not for kids. Uh, yeah, I mean, it was my first R-rated animated project too, so I was nervous going into it. But I think what is fun is, I think, just really diving into these deeper themes that, as an adult, I really can relate to so much of her struggles, and I can relate to the struggles of all of these characters. And it makes it really special. It feels like, I mean, it just feels like we're doing a live action sometimes. I mean, the first season I recorded everything during the pandemic, so I was literally like at my house putting my head in a little tiny dark box. And I think that's when I really felt like, oh wow, this show is really deeply emotional and very touching, because when you're just in a dark box, you really have time to think about the story and these characters. So I'm very touched by what the animators have done, what Will and Josh have created, and I'm so proud to be a part of it.
Oh, and you're so good in it too. So before we wrap, I want to know three words to describe this season. What would you say?
Oh man, three words. I mean, action, gore, emotion. I mean, I feel like those are just what season one was too, but
Yeah.
I feel like it's just more of that, in the best way. But also just redemption.
Oh, Redemption. That's a good one.
Redemption is, definitely. And New York. Oh, there's so many
Yes,
words.
New York. I know. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. And congratulations. And this season was So good. There's so much I want to talk about that's spoilery with your character, and I can't. So I'm
I
sure you know what
know.
I'm talking about because
We'll talk again then.
yes, because I have so many things I need to say. So thank you
Uh,
so much.
Thanks, Tessa. Always good to see you.
Yes, good to
Thank
see you.
you.
Hey, Fred, how are
Hey,
you?
I'm good. I'm good. I was so happy to see you were doing the interview.
I know. I was so excited to get to talk to you. This season, I love this show anyways, but this season like somehow raises the bar even more, I feel
Yeah,
like.
yeah.
But I've got to talk to you about finding the voice of a monkey. And
Hmm.
like you do so good at allowing us to know exactly what he's how he's feeling and what
Thank
he's
you.
saying. Yeah, of course. But like how do you do that with just sounds and no actual dialogue?
It's just that's my challenge and my joy doing it. That's like one of the jobs I do. Yeah, it's I always joke about it. It's like showing up to work with a broken saxophone and yeah, I gotta find it's more of a musical job really, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where but this particular character in this particular show has, as all things do, a parameter. So when I started, they really wanted it to be accurate macaque snow monkey sounds from Japan. So that's the range you're working with. So it's like the darkest curious George you could ever get into. Just like it's it's real sounds that I tried to imitate and get in, and then the callback or the audition was a list of emotions and maybe what it might be wanting to say, and how can you take those sound sets and plug them in to an emotion. So that comes down to tonal readings with the
Mhm.
same sound. So Bryce, we gotta go now. I'm sad, Bryce. I don't trust that guy. You know, and you start to kind of realize, okay, I'm attaching this with this. And so I get a script. We kind of have a line. I kind of have a line of what they want him to say, or a sensibility of what they want him to say. And you can kind of figure it out when you read it and look at it and go, okay, he wants to do this. As long as I know what his emotional state is, I'm good. Like as long as I know, okay, how do we point this?
Yeah.
And so that's the challenge, but also my joy, to do that.
You're so good. You're so good. Cause like
Oh,
it's crazy to be like, I know exactly what this monkey is thinking.
you try, I mean, always as an actor, you want to know like
Yeah.
what is the soul or spirit or intelligence of this thing right now? What does it need? What does it want? How does it feel about what it's saying? All
Mhm.
those things have got to be real, to you. And what's hilarious is he's so serious. I'm the straight man. I'm the
I know.
pathos, the sadness of this whole situation, and Bryce is hilarious. Like I mean, that's Jason Sudeikis. It's just,
Yeah.
and the writing is so snappy in the show. The writers have really brought it. And like you say, it's next level because
Yeah.
it's now we're dealing with the devil. Oh my God,
I know. I
David is
know.
the, and so now we have the devil, and now we have dealing with, oh gosh, now Leslie Jones as Eunice is our new boss.
She's
Now
fantastic.
always she is. I'm such a fanboy of her. It's crazy. What's great is I'm just such a fanboy of her. She's so funny and on everything she does. But what's great is he has a friend now outside of
Hmm.
Bryce. Okay. She's connected immediately to Monkey. She's his agent. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? So it's really, I love that bond. That's a separate thing. And we can both commiserate about Bryce.
Yes. And that's
It's
some of the
real.
best stuff in this season. It's so
Oh
great.
yeah. I love it. Nobody knows Bryce is there and they're putting him down. And I'm trying to represent for him, but I also know he's kind of, yeah, he's flawed, like I know
Yeah.
he's. So yeah, it's been and so that I'm so excited. And then like you say, getting into the life death uh surreal nature of the show now. It's gotten so much bigger than I had anticipated. You know what I mean? Like I didn't realize two things I didn't realize how crazy we were going to get,
Yeah.
with the supernatural world, but also how funny it was going to be.
Yes.
Like it surprises me. It's
It's
like Pulp
so good.
Fiction, Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. It is. It is.
It's so dark, and then someone says something, and it just totally turns it on its ear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then like by the end, there's episodes where I was crying. I'm like, why am I
Yes,
crying over this? Like,
yes.
oh,
It's sad.
I
It's very
know.
sad. Yeah.
Oh, it's so good. So we saw it in the trailer. I wasn't sure if it was going to be in the trailer, so I'm glad we get to talk about it a little bit. Bryce making this deal to be human, right? To have his body. How does
Yes.
that change your interactions? Because Monkey is so often just talking, doing the talking for him, and now Bryce can do that at certain times. So how did that change the
Yes.
interactions between the two?
Well, again, that's the big reveal. That's the big thing. It will change in that having him in a corporeal state will help because he can get more done.
Yeah,
Actually,
it's true.
and it'll be very interesting and might offer Monkey a little more freedom.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Because
Uh-huh.
Monkey is not, even though now he's being hunted by Akiko, like, understandably so, and this is what happens. He might have a little more freedom because he would like to leave the life. I
Yeah.
think he would love, and what's important there, really, the most important thing is that the Bryce and his daughter
Yep.
he cleans that mess up. That's what's
Mhm.
important, and he can't do that as much as a ghost.
Right.
As much as Monkey tries, it's
Yeah.
not going to be the same, and so it's really. I think that's really the crux of that entire thing is more than even the hitmonkey, more than the hitmen stuff, because
Yeah.
we're a good team no matter what, whether he's a ghost or not. Um,
Mhm.
but this will help him clear up a lot of the messes. The whole season 2 is about us trying to clear up our mess.
Yeah,
It really
absolutely.
is.
Yeah, especially with Monkey too. I mean, it's very clear he's like not really happy with his life and what he's been doing, and he's
No,
feeling guilty and having regrets. And
he has a lot of regrets, and revenge is the first season was about revenge and getting the bad guys, and then you realize how empty that is. And now, I mean, he killed sort of in not self-defense, but in friend defense,
yeah,
and now he's being hunted for revenge and so Akiko is going to revenge her uncle. So,
yep,
avenge her uncle. And so it's he's got to deal with a whole other level of empathy and fear.
yep.
you know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And so we can't talk about it in detail, but I've got to know the final moments towards the end of the season. You know what I'm talking about. I just want to know what your reaction was when you read that because
I was yeah. What? You were what?
yeah, I was so excited. But
I
like
was too.
but like it was exciting.
I was too. I did not see it coming.
Yeah.
I did not see it coming. And I was like, wow. And I mean, the devil knows he's not going to work it out. It's
It's
like
true.
that's the thing. He just loves to spin it and watch it go. Just
Uh-huh.
let's see how you mess this up because he's got stuff to do. There's
Yep.
a whole other agenda going on that's beyond us in this earthly realm. So
Mhm.
there's a lot happening there. So yeah, that was just a great touch and did not see I flipped. I did not see that coming. And I
Uh,
don't think and none of the characters do, including
no.
Bryce.
Oh,
Really. I mean, yeah.
absolutely. I know
And
it ended and I was like, well, season 3, right?
what?
Like, what are
Oh,
we
they better
doing?
be. I hope so.
I mean,
Gosh,
we
please.
can't leave it like that.
No. I that's why I want the fans to see this. It's such a fun ride.
It
It
is so
really
good.
is. And I'm so not just proud of it. I love what everyone brought to
Yeah,
it.
it's
You
so
know?
great. All the
Yeah.
new characters, but the return, the evolution from where these characters have come from season 1 to season
Yes.
2. It's
Yes.
so good. But I've got to
Yeah,
ask
they're
you real quick because
yeah.
before it's time to go, because in the comics, Deadpool and HitMonkey have a lot of stuff. So would you ever see maybe somehow Deadpool popping up here or
Oh,
you
wait.
going there?
Wait, yeah, definitely they would it would be. Here's the thing about that though. It works out kind of perfect because Bryce is very much like Deadpool in many
That's true.
ways. And I think they would have a hard time getting along maybe because they're so much alike or that would work out pretty well, but it would be very stressful for Hitmonkey. Because when you bring in Deadpool, you bring on a whole other level of destruction, right? And humor, obviously.
Yeah.
But this is like psychotic, and now I think Monkey's trying to get out of that world, and now you enter in somebody who is really steeped in it.
Yeah.
Biochemically, he's gone, and so yes, Deadpool would be a perfect match. Perfect match. Yeah.
I would love to see HitMonkey trying to have Bryce and Deadpool because they're essentially very similar, like you said.
You and me. You guys, you guys, you gotta stop. I mean, that's really where that would go. His hand is on the floor. Like,
it would be too.
how is he moving? How is he moving? Yeah, right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome. Oh, well, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. It's always great to talk to you.
Always wonderful. It's such a good pleasure. And thank you again for the great questions and so wonderful talking with you as always.
Yes. And congratulations. I can't wait for everyone to see this. And we need a season 3 or I will go crazy.
Me too.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Geeky, how are you?
Great. Nice to talk to you.
It's so lovely to talk to you. I got to show you. It's one of my prized possessions that I have. So absolutely love the series. I've got to know what it was about the comics and this that you were like, okay, we're going to adapt this into a series.
Well, we had been fans since the original, what they call one shot, which is this, original 3 episodes. And to us, it was just like probably the greatest, origin story in the Marvel universe. It was just so weird and offbeat, but also like dark and cinematic, and we were just always drawn to it. And we really, spent a bunch of years pitching it and trying to get it off the ground. And then we decided to do it as an anime kind of inspired, and it was the right thing because we could indulge anything you write can get animated. Not like you have to go to Japan and spend $150 million on this weird little character. So it turned out to be the kind of ideal project.
Yeah, it's perfect because you can push the envelope whenever you want, and you don't have to have like a CG monkey that you're trying to make do things. So it works out well. Totally. I've got to talk to you about this cast. This cast is absolutely phenomenal. But bringing on like Jason Sudeikis, what was that like?
I mean, it was really exciting. We had Jason the first season. He was our first choice. But what's exciting about this is that we were able to grow out the ensemble, like Josh was saying. Kristen Malati and Nat Fax and Rob Corddry and Leslie Jones and Fred Tatasciore, and there's just an amazing cast that we've been able to work with. It's super fun.
Yeah, Fred's amazing. That guy, the noises that he can make is just.
Look, he's a full legend. It's amazing.
It's incredible. What's it like seeing him in the movie?
We actually worked with him on a movie in between these two. We did Lyle Crocodile for Columbia, and he voiced sort of the guttural sounds of Lyle. So it was like, we've now done multiple projects together.
I love it. What's it like watching him work? Because I got to imagine
it's incredible.
It's a little bizarre.
It's bizarre. I mean, he really becomes the animal, and you're like, you can direct him like the animal. You're like, okay, well, that was amazing.
Oh, I love it so much. Was there something from the comics that you were like, yes, we have to make sure we include this?
Well, yeah. I mean, to us, it was really the core of the comics was the relationship between Monkey and the assassin character, who in the original comics was more stoic and kind of more dry. But when we read it, we were always like, what would it be like to be mentored by such a damaged, broken down, alcoholic, bitter guy? And we kind of wrote it obviously with Sudeikis in mind. And when Sudeikis said yes, we were like, wow, this is incredible. And it really gave us the kind of pin to make the whole sort of season and now second season work, which was kind of this odd, buddy comedy, I guess, between these two characters, but also one that's, tinged with pathos and darkness and this kind of, really bizarre R-rated violent tone, so we kind of, it was really a dream project all the way through.
Yeah, I know. I've watched the whole second season, and it's so good. It's so good. But is there something you're most excited for fans to see that you can talk about?
I think if you stick around for the end of the season, you really start to dig into Monkey's origins as a character, and I think really that 10th episode, everything is building up to that. I mean, we designed the show so that you can dip in and out of it. You can watch any episode you want, but if you watch it all the way through, it just is sort of a propulsive, emotional experience that really builds off the first two seasons.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a lot of emotional moments in this one, especially with Jason Sudeikis's character. I don't want to talk too much, but there is a bit of a change to him, if you know what I
Yes.
mean. He's able to
Yeah.
do some things he wasn't able to do last season. So what was it like getting to work that stuff in? Because that is some of the funnest stuff I feel like this season.
Yeah, for sure. We knew we wanted to we didn't want to just play off the same exact dynamics all the way through. And we needed at a certain point for this change to occur in order to really ignite some of the funnier, bigger stuff in the season. So, and we always knew we wanted this season to turn up the volume on the humor a bit. So it was great.
It's so good. And I mean, Ali Mackey's fantastic too. I mean, like the whole cast is great, but I feel like every character really gets their moment. So can you talk about the importance of like, it's HitMonkey and we're seeing a lot of him, but you're able to explore all these other characters as well and give them their dues?
Yeah, I mean, look, just talking about these characters, I mean, for us, it all starts with the actors, right? I mean, it's really, you get them in the booth and, for like Leslie Jones, for instance, turned out to be, just a revelation, you know what I mean? I mean, not only is she a powerhouse comedic actor, but like Will was saying a lot, she's really, she really cared about the arcing of the show and all the other characters and how her character fit in. So it was like, we would spend the first, half hour of each session with her, kind of catching her up on all the stuff that was going on. And she was like a super fan. It was amazing.
She's so good in this too. I feel like this whole show, like I said, I mean, I have no notes. It's so good. I love it. Every episode is just, it gets better and better and better. But in the comics, we do see HitMonkey cross paths with Deadpool quite a bit.
Yeah.
What would you think? I know it's hard because it's not technically the MCU, right? But would you think you'd ever be able to weave Deadpool into a story, or would HitMonkey ever be able to go over to the Deadpool movies?
I mean, I don't know. That's for people above our pay grade to decide. But look, I mean, in a great way, Bryce has a little bit of Deadpool in him in terms of that sarcasm, in terms of that kind of acerbic, kind of bitter, view of the world. We've always talked about that if they ever interacted, Bryce and Deadpool would probably hate each other, because it's like two of the same person kind of meeting each other. And Monkey would probably find Deadpool to be rather familiar. But, in the original comics, it was interesting, like, one of the only characters that Deadpool seems to be scared of is HitMonkey. So HitMonkey is almost a more violent version of him. So yeah, it'd be great to have some crossover there.
Yeah, and how much fun is it to get to play? Because, like I said, you really do push the envelope in terms of like animated gore, which I love. And so, how fun is it to kind of get to play in that? Because, like you mentioned, Lyle Crocodile was not very gory or violent. So, how much fun is it to get to play to that in this world?
It was really fun because, look, the truth is, it's supposed to be amusing on violence, not amusing violence, but amusing. And I think the fact that it's animated gives you a lot of license, to really go for it, without the human connection, so that you still get the impact, but it's, done in a way that's sort of more graphic, novel oriented than graphic. So in that way, it's really fun to be able to explore it. I mean, I don't know that we would make, a first person shooter movie like this, but it's definitely something that the format can absorb in a different way. And we tried to be at times impressionistic about it. And I think the fact that HitMonkey is a killer of killers is something that feels like a great top spin, so that it's not.
Yeah, these people deserve it.
Yeah, they do. I mean, they're not good people, that's for certain.
Sure.
What was it like finding the design for HitMonkey? Because I feel like it looks very similar to the comics, obviously. But what was it like when you really hit on his look?
It was exciting because we worked with Floyd County. They had great artists, working and rendering and going back and forth. And, we knew we needed to see him. I mean, the thing about animation is it's really a 360 approach to a character, because sometimes they're background plates, sometimes they're close focus, sometimes you're watching the detail of their eyes dilate, other times you're seeing them, run at full blast down a street. And I think, we were trying to find something in the character that was both iconic from a coloring standpoint, but also a way that there was a versatility so that it wasn't a precious, intricate design, but it still gave you the full range of everything I just mentioned. And, you know, that was our goal all along. And we got really lucky to be able to explore that in the process.
Yeah, and the thing I love is you really just see his expressions on his face, so you can tell exactly what he's feeling, and he's going through it this season. You know, he's having some
He's a
doubts.
super emotional character. It's you know, somebody who doesn't talk, right? You know, you feel everything that he's saying in his head. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you absolutely. It's easy to connect with him and feel for him. Like I said, he's definitely going through it. Everyone I feel like is going through it this season, though.
Oh yeah,
Really.
people get dragged through it. You know, look, again, it was like it's one of those shows where it's like we never wanted to look. We wanted to go super violent and really go for it. And to your earlier question, there were always those moments in the animation process where like too far, too much, like you know. But you kind of then want to balance that with a sort of more mature, you know what I mean, kind of conversation about it and the effect that it has on these characters. And so, you know, that was really what we wanted to unpack this season.
Yeah. Well, congratulations. Great job. I want more and more and more. I think it's phenomenal. Thank you guys so much for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you. So nice to
I'm
talk to you.
semi-obsessed with your background. I'm like wanting to zoom in on all of them.
I know I have a lot. Like I said, usually this is hanging up back there, but I had to take it
Love
down
it.
for this. I was like, I have to have it closer so you can see it.
Awesome.
We need our own character of HitMonkey back there.
I mean, listen, I would be all in on that. So awesome. Thank you guys so much for your time.
Very nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Nice to see you.